They can't save you. Can I have a boop? Boop! Good girl. Not today, Satan. It's Christmas. Who cares? They baked a lot more than cupcakes in that kitchen, I'm gonna tell you right now. It is so steamy. People are praising this book until the cows come home and call it a romance. It's not a romance. You would be insane to call it so. What's up, cuties? I am here with none other than Santa Claus himself and my beautiful Akasha. We just got back from the most marvelous winter walk in the world. And now it is time for me to give you all of the tea on 2023's holiday book rush. I'm so excited to be doing the holiday book rush again this year, and like everything that I do that is like annual, I just can't help but make it bigger and better every single year. And I definitely feel that the way that the book rush is planned for 2023 is going to be amazing. So if you are unfamiliar, if you missed the holiday book rush last year, it was a readathon I did with two of my dearest friends, and it was just one where we read holiday romances and holiday horror books. It does make me sad that this winter festive season is only focused on Christmas. There are so many other holiday traditions, winter holidays that should be celebrated and centered during this time, and that's how the holiday book rush was created. Now there's gonna be some really big changes from last year. Now the biggest change is that you don't only have to read horror and romance books. This year you can choose absolutely any genres that you want, including nonfiction if you can make it work. You can mix and match the prompts. You can skip prompts altogether. But the other big change is that this time there are teams. I am so excited about these teams that you can join. I really wanted to make sure that we were shining a light on certain holidays. So there is 4 teams that you can join. You can be Team Christmas, you can be Team Hanukkah, you can be Team Diwali, or you can be Team Kwanzaa. I am going to be doing my best to be reading a book from every single one of these teams, and the holiday book rush runs from the 19th of December all the way to the 26th of December. There is going to be live reading parties featuring myself and my co-hosts. We have an amazing team of hosts this year. McKay is coming back to reprise his role. He is one of the original hosts. We have Nkechi of City Girl Writer, who is amazing. I absolutely love Nkechi. We are both Minnesotans, and I had the absolute extreme pleasure and privilege of getting to meet them earlier this year, and I just think that they're wonderful. We also have Heather of Here Booktubes. I love. Heather is the shit. I love Heather. I'm so excited. Our reading tastes are very, very different, but Heather is one of those people that I know I can depend on. I know that I can text her in the middle of the night. I know that if I need a pick-me-up or a smile, she's always going to be there. And even though our reading tastes are so radically different, I still absolutely love her content and following her, and it just goes to show that you don't necessarily need to have the same tastes with somebody in order to like enjoy their content and build a beautiful friendship with them. So that is really exciting. I cannot wait to have Sandra as a co-host. I'm so excited that she said yes. Oh my god, I always struggle on her channel name. Got a Thing for Things. Amazing, just a total sweetheart. We're going to try and make sprints work, but our time zones are very different. Our time zones for McKay and Sandra are in the most opposite of time zones from myself as you can get, but we're still making sprints work. Now there is going to be, for those of you who like to read horror, there is going to be a dedicated holiday horror reading sprint. I am so excited about that. Yes? You do this every time. What? We just had a walk. We played fetch. There were treats. She ate. She had water. Huh? What is it? You just can't stand not being the center of attention. Do you want to wear this? You want this? Sit down. She looked away like, no, I know some fuck shit is about to go down. Akasha, Ren, come here. Hey, no, leave it. Come here. Yep, see, no. Come here. Sit. This is what happens when you interrupt filming. It's happening. Let it happen. Also, look at my hair. Hi. Do you regret your choices? Yeah. They can't save you. Can I have a boop? Boop! Good girl, you're a good girl. There you go, good dog. Good dog. Okay, leave my presents. Go. Get. What? Weirdo. All right, let's see. Why am I like this? I am shocked.
What are you doing? Just standing there.
I am shocked this dog hasn't left me. Ran away, begged. She's gonna have a suitcase at any moment. Like, I'm sure she is just waiting for me to croak so that she can be rehomed. Okay, so let's talk about the themes for the holiday book rush this year and the specific prompts and my book recommendations. And then I'm going to be getting into what I'm going to be reading or hoping to be reading for the holiday book rush, as well as a little peek into my plans for January 2024. I'm so excited. Oh, so I'm on Monty Price's Patreon, and he just made a little post. I love getting to support other artists and creators on Patreon. That is one goal that I want for 2024, is to join more patrons. I'm on Gavin's Patreon, I'm on Monty's Patreon, but there's so many more of my friends that I want to join and support. So goals. The Holiday Book Rush is a reading challenge that is focused on reading holiday books. So you can read for Diwali, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Las Posadas, etc. The prompt for Team Diwali is to read a book where a protagonist faces a challenging decision. Obviously, this has to be a holiday book, and it doesn't have to be specific to Diwali. So you can read a Christmas book where the protagonist has to make a challenging decision. Diwali, most commonly known as the Festival of Lights, also has an undercurrent of morality, of making good choices. And so that is why I put this prompt in there. I tried to make sure that the prompts honored the original tradition in some way. Next up, we have Kwanzaa, a book starring a Black protagonist. There are tons of holiday books out there with Black protagonists, so this shouldn't be too challenging. For the Christmas prompt, you have to read a Christmas classic or a crowd fave. Now, this doesn't have to be a Christmas classic. That was a mistake putting that in there. But as long as it is a holiday classic. And if you're one of those people that just really doesn't like classics or can't find a classic that you want to read for this month, then you can just pick a crowd favorite. So any holiday book that has a good cult following that people are recommending. And finally, we have the Hanukkah, a holiday book centering a game or large gathering. I pulled this prompt from the dreidel tradition and the tradition of getting together and sharing food. I am so excited for that prompt because there's so many incredible things. I'm gonna give y'all some recommendations, but do be mindful that these are only tentative soft recs because I have not read the majority of these books. I will let you know which ones I have read though. So for Diwali, holiday book where a protagonist must face a challenging decision. For that, you can read The Matzah Ball, which I'm hoping to read. It is a Jewish romance following chronically ill protagonists and hate to love. I'm not a big fan of hate to love, but I do love me some Jewish literature, and I do absolutely love me a chronically ill protagonist as somebody who has chronic illnesses and invisible disabilities. I'm very excited to be reading that book. Hopefully, if I can get my hands on it. I'm going to be continuing with my read of A Holly Jolly Diwali. I got about halfway through this book for last year's holiday book rush. I didn't finish it, and so I saved it for an entire year. I'm going to be annotating it, finishing up my annotations, all of that. You're going to see a holiday book annotations video. I am very excited about that as well. And then there is 8 Kinky Nights, which has been on my radar for years. This is one, it is a sex positive Jewish romance. It's got gray ace rep. It is body positive, and it's about exploring oneself. And the protagonist has to kind of make the decision to surrender, or rather explore their sexuality and what that looks like, and to allow themselves to be brave in that way. I'm excited to see a romance, a kinky, sex positive, BDSM positive romance that has fat protagonists, that has ace protagonists, that is from a trans author. I'm just really excited about all of that. And then for those of you who are just really not big on holiday books at all, My Darling Girl by Jennifer McMahon is a Christmas book. It's set during Christmas, but it doesn't feel all Christmassy, if that makes sense. I read this book last month. I did not love it. I gave it a 3-star. I did enjoy the ending though. It's not that I hated it. I just thought that it was very, very, very average. But if you think this book sounds good, I do recommend it if you like those kinds of books, especially if you're a fan of this author. It's her latest one, and it is a book where we're following this woman who as a child, her mother was very severely mentally ill and abused her a lot, raving about this demon that she had to protect her from. And then she grows up and the mother is in hospice dying, and her wish is to go home and meet her grandchildren, 2 girls, and move into this woman's home so that she can die there. It could never be me. I'm just kidding. I could see me doing some stupid shit like that because I do be loving my family, you know? Like I am the king, queen, and royalty of not letting things go. So I wouldn't be surprised if I was the dumb bitch in this situation. But anyway, grandma moves in, grandma's creepy, and it comes out that grandma may or may not have been possessed this whole time. So it's one of those parapsychological, possessed, not, kids are acting a fucking fool. It just was so frustrating watching these children act a fool and then also just not believing the woman let me stop. I'm just, no, don't even get me started. Not today, Satan, it's Christmas. Now for the Christmas prompt recommendations. The Christmas prompt is a holiday classic or a crowd favorite. Okay, good. So on the actual thing, I wrote classic. I wrote holiday, not Christmas. Whoops. There's a short story collection called Murder on Christmas Eve. It's got 10 classic murder mysteries from beloved authors and a locked door feel. This also counts for Camp Oregon, which is an ongoing readathon where we read books that are either set at camp or where characters are forced to make camp due to emergency circumstances. So Getting Snowed In counts for Camp Oregon, right? That kind of thing. That is a book that I'm really interested in reading. We also have classic tales of Christmas that include stories from Shirley Jackson and Truman Capote. Is it Capote or Capote? Who cares? And then we have a book that I also started last year. It's a yearly reread and I didn't finish it, so I'm going to be reading it for the holiday book rush this year. And that book is none other than The Afterlife of Holly Chase. It is a Christmas Carol retelling. Holly Chase is this very privileged, snotty LA girl who is a dick and she dies. And then she has to like work at this Scrooge project thing where she and this other team of other dead people help out people who are on risk of becoming Scrooge. And she gets assigned to this cute ass rich boy who is modern day Scrooge, and she's trying to like help him change his ways, except she falls in love with him, that kind of thing. So if you love retellings, if you love, what's it called, like when you gender swap, a nice gender swap Scrooge, it's a slow burn romance and it has the feel of a classic. The audiobook I highly recommend. It's the kind of book that you would think Jesse wouldn't like, and I love it. I love it more every single year. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with it. Now, the most perfect book that you can pick for this is My True Love Gave to Me. It is literally the perfect holiday book because it's a YA story collection about multiple holidays from some of 2023's most noteworthy authors that are really, really well established and popular, along with authors that are less so, which I think is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Comment down below at this point which of these books sound the best to you. I just would love to know. But we still have 2 more teams to go through. So for the Hanukkah prompt is a holiday book centering a game or an event. I love this prompt so much because y'all know I love me like a sports romance, and I love any kind of bloody competition, vicious games. It's just 2 things I adore so much. So one of the books that I have recommended is Sleepless in Dubai, which I really want to read. I think the cover is super cute. It's a YA hate to love story that takes place on a 12-hour flight, and I love that trope of one sitting. The story happens in one sitting. I think that's really cool. And it centers Diwali, which is wonderful. So then we have 8 Dates and Nights, and this is about 2 Jewish teens that are stuck in Texas for the holidays, and they play Truth or Dare Dreidel. This book is supposed to be really good. It seems promising. It seems right up my alley. It's wild how much I tend to enjoy these kinds of narratives, and I just have this feeling that I'm going to very, very much enjoy this book. I hope that I'm correct, because y'all know I hate most romances, but I'm learning which romances I tend to like the best. I tend to like a sports romance. I obviously love a queer female, especially romance, or a trans romance. I really love romances with Jewish main characters. Milk-Fed is one of my favorite romances of all time. Oh no, I have to water that plant. Oh my God, she looks so sad. I need to get back into the habit of watering my plants, or just checking on my plants daily. Look at my shamrock plant. She was doing so good. No. Why am I like this? We're just gonna move on, since that plant is moving on from this world. And then finally we have a book called The Scary Book of Christmas Lore. It is perfect for fans of murder and mythology. It's chilling, and it has that nice line between educational and scary. I love learning more about mythos and lore, and there are some very disturbing Christmas myths. And I'm sure that they're just chilling. First of all, Krampus is horrific. Krampus is horrific. I don't understand why we think that that man is cute, why we keep making movies about it. He's horrific. It's so fucking scary, but we love it. Moved over a little bit because the area behind me is shining brighter than a diamond. I'm trying to get Santa in the frame. This is racist. I hate being short. And finally, we have the Kwanzaa prompt. And that prompt is centering Black families or individuals. Oh, some of these books I have read. The Kwanzaa brunch is that whole given up on love trope. It's about a woman who has literally given up on love, and she is tired of meeting the same old guys in her small town. Like, she knows everybody. That's why she's just over dating. And then I think this new guy moves in. He's sweet, he is charming, that kind of thing. And it's a quick read, and it's supposed to be tender and sweet. Now, I have heard that Kwanzaa is not a very big part of that story, and that that's a big letdown, so keep that in mind. Then we have a treasury of African-American Christmas stories. I am so excited about this book. I can't wait. It's perfect for short story fans. It celebrates Black classic authors, and it's Black joy inclusive. I think it's so important to have books that center Black joy. Obviously, I did struggle to find Black holiday books that didn't have a heavy emphasis on trauma. When you look up like Black Christmas books, most of them are either educational or they're children's books. There just really isn't enough books for Christmas and the holidays and Kwanzaa that center Black joy. So I'm really hoping that either y'all can give me some recommendations for down below, or that Black authors are just encouraged to write more holiday books going forward, and more importantly that those books sell so those authors can make it a sustainable living. So anyway, that is like the thing that I loved the most about finding this collection, is that the stories aren't just doom and gloom. It's not slavery for 400 pages with a mistletoe over the top. I did want to give a recommendation for children's literature because this is a classic piece of literature. It is The Story of Kwanzaa. It details the Kwanzaa tradition in a really fun and educational way. It's family focused, and like I said, it's a modern classic. So if you are one of those people that just like wants a quick read and also don't know much about Kwanzaa, and or just want some really sweet Black familial tenderness, then you should definitely check out that book. And the final thing, one of our favorite books, I mean, we honestly might reread it this year because why not? It is Mangos and Mistletoe by Adriana Herrera. I love this book. We had the privilege of interviewing Herrera a couple years ago, and it was one of the biggest highlights of my career. I
Swear to God.
This novella is set at a baking competition, and we are following two, I think they're both Dominican, I can't remember, but they are Afro-Dominicanas or Afro-Latinas, and they are at a baking competition and they get paired up together, and there's some baking sex. They baked a lot more than cupcakes in that kitchen, I'm gonna tell you right now. It was so steamy and hot and body positive and just like sexy and full of heart and soul. It is a great book. It is well written. It's amazing. And I highly recommend that you read that. I also am going to be reading Nosferatu. This is something that I do every year. I read this, and I read The Polar Express, and I reread The Afterlife of Holly Chase every year for Christmas because they mean so much to me. This will be my third time reading this book. Actually, no, like 2.5 times. I've already read this book audibly. It was incredible. The actress was phenomenal. I can't remember her name, but she is a well-established actress, and she went and did the audiobook, and that girl acted her ass off, you know what I'm saying? The book itself is like almost 700 pages. It's 660. And it is basically kind of like a Nosferatu retelling. We're following this vampire named Charlie Manx, who has this old school, I forget what it is. Oh, he's got a 1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith. And the vanity plate says Nosferatu, and he uses it to take children to Christmas Land, which is once the kids get into this car, they don't get out of the car, or they get out somewhere else and they get to be kids and enjoy Christmas forever. You know what I mean? Like, vampire serial killer Charlie Manx has been around for a long, long time, and he does his hunting in his 1938.
What?
1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith.
Say that 7 times in a row.
1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith, 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 1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith. That wasn't that bad. It wasn't that good. I don't even know if that was 7. Anyway, basically kids have been disappearing for a really, really long time, and he is the result. He is obsessed, he is the cause rather. He is obsessed with Christmas, and he believes that all children should get to be children forever and just be in Christmas land and enjoy their childhoods forever. And so he basically takes kids from families where they're being mistreated, and then he takes them to Christmas land. And I'm not gonna spoil Christmas land for you. You'll find that out later on in the book. And so we are following him as well as Vic McQueen, who gets on his radar as a kid, and we're following her and him as she ages, and she has spent decades fighting this vampire, basically trying to escape his clutches. And Vic McQueen has this incredible bike that when she gets on it as a kid, she gets on it, and if she rides fast enough, this bridge appears, and when she goes through the bridge, she comes out somewhere that she's supposed to be. So if she's looking for a lost bracelet, for example, she gets on her bike, she goes through the bridge, and the bracelet will be, you know, somewhere in there. And so through her adventures using her bridge, that's how she gets on Charlie Manx's radar. That's how he finds out about her. And what's really cool about this world, like, the world building is so incredible, because what's amazing about it is that they're not the only people. Vic is not the only person who has this bridge. Basically, Charlie hunts other special, talented people who have a bridge of their own. I forget what it's called, a knife. It's called a knife. So a knife is essentially a tool that one person uses in order to do something magical. So Charlie Manx's car is his tool. His vehicle actually is a portal somewhere else, and I'm not gonna spoil it, just the same way that Vic McQueen's bike can create a portal somewhere else. There's another character who has a fucking bag full of Scrabble tiles, and she can reach in all the way up to her arm. She pulls out the answer to whatever she wants to know. It's so cool. Like, the combination between fantasy, supernatural, and horror is just the most well-balanced at all that I've ever read. It feels so rooted in reality, and it is painstakingly done. It is such an incredible book. I love it. This also features my favorite romance of all time, which is funny because I know anybody who reads this book is not going to call it a romance. It's not a romance. You would be insane to call it so. But what I mean is the relationship between Vic and this guy that she meets when she's older. It is by no means the focus of the book, but those are usually my favorite kinds of romances. My favorite kinds of romances are ones where they aren't the main focus of the narrative, but you watch these two people go through hell and back together, and I've never rooted for a couple more. Like, I've never, to this fucking day, to this very day, I have moments where I think of Vic McQueen, and I hope that wherever she is safe and happy. That's how much I love her and this book. It's the reason why I'm obsessed with Joe Hill. To this day, I just finished another book by him. It's called Horns. Nope, I didn't finish Horns. I just finished Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son. And he is 10 million times the author that his father is. He doesn't have the same issues in his text that his father has in his, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to be rereading and annotating this. That is basically it for the holiday book rush. Definitely stay tuned for sprints and all of that. The host information is linked down below. And before I sign off, I want to give you guys a nice little peek into what you can expect from this channel in January and some changes. There's going to be a more formal video most likely, but one thing that I'm going to be doing in January that I'm very excited about is hosting my Camp Oregon readathon for the public. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Camp Oregon, it is a readathon that I started with my patrons earlier on in this year. We've done several rounds. It's so fun. And like I said earlier, you just have to read books that are either set at camp or where characters are forced to make camp due to emergency circumstances. Stories that are set largely in the woods count for Camp Oregon. Stories that are set in the wilderness, anything secluded, that kind of thing. All of that counts. So it doesn't necessarily matter if the story is cozy or horror or romance or nonfiction, it all counts for Camp Oregon, and we have incredible merchandise. It took me a while to design this merch, but I'm just so in love with this merchandise, and I hope that you guys get some and join the readathon in January. It's going to be happening all month long. It's gonna be really fucking fun. I'm pretty excited to read Camp Prodigy for Camp Oregon. This is a book. Akasha! Hi. Hi, you look so good. Look how hot my mom is. Isn't she a babe? Cute! Are you... Should we're filming a video, but we're almost done. You want me to just turn the camera off? Is it important?
No. It could wait. It's not a big deal.
Okay, I'll finish the clip later. Take 10.
Like on the 3rd, I received another one.
Mm-hmm.
And I send it back, and I'm like, I need you to I don't want this. I thought I stopped that subscription. So I kept trying to figure out what card. It was your card. So you have $70 coming back to one of your cards that I thought I was getting. And so check on that. Just Fire Sphere account. It was probably one of your old cards. Knowing you got a new one by now. So.
Okay. That's hilarious.
Let's just go with that.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too.
Okay. Well, just so I know, I apologize. At least I know what and where it's going. So. Yeah. So it'll be 70-48 coming back to you. Hey. Yeah, I was like, no, it's not necessary this month. Yeah. But damn. So yeah, I'll have to rearrange some shit.
Okay. Bet.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. My mom is so funny. She basically told me that she's been charging my card for something by mistake, and that she was trying to figure out why she kept getting this thing in the mail and how to cancel it because it wasn't showing up on her billing statement. And that's because it was showing up on mine. This is a really good example of a Camp Oregon book. This is a cute little middle grade book that I just got sent in the mail. And it's about this adorable non-binary kid who really wants to be a violinist, and they go to this musical summer camp and end up like meeting their violin champion of the heart or whatever, you know what I mean, like their favorite violinist in the world. But then there's performance anxieties that they have to overcome, and like being in the spotlight and believing in oneself. So it's just going to be a really cozy, sweet book. This is the book that I'm currently reading right now with my heart level patrons. It's Jasad Air. This is our book club pick for December. I'm so excited to be getting to this one. It is set in the kingdom of Jasad, which 10 years ago burned down, and magic was then outlawed. The royal family was murdered. The heir of Jasad escaped the massacre and intends to stay hidden, especially from the armies that still hunt her people. But then when she gets angry, that changes everything, and the heir from the rival realm finds out about her and is tracking her down, that kind of thing. It is so much my kind of story that I just can't wait to continue reading it. I'm actually filming this on a little sprint break with my patrons, so I'm about to wrap this video up and get back to them. But yeah, that's basically it. I really hope that you consider joining the holiday book rush. Which prompt is the most satisfying to you? How many books are you gonna read? What are you gonna read? That kind of thing. I might be doing a 72-hour readathon for it. And either way, you're gonna see a holiday book rush vlog. I'm so excited. I'm also gonna be releasing holiday book rush footage from last year that I never got around to. So it's just gonna be really, really fun, a good time. Don't forget that in January, we are going to be doing Camp Oregon together. So start getting your TBR together because there's so many books that count for it. It's gonna be really, really easy to participate in. And don't forget that the merchandise is down below as well as the link to my Patreon. Other than that, for January, I'm going to be focusing a lot on my bigger books because I have so many big chunky books on my TBR that I'd like to get out of the way. For example, The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. I never read this book and this was on my October TBR. I really, really wanted to read it because I've heard such amazing things. It talks about the history of reformatory institutions, especially as they have impacted Black folk. One of Tananarive's ancestors was a victim of one of these reformatory institutions. Gripping page turner set in Jim Crow, Florida, that follows Robert Stephen Jones as he's sent to his segregated reform school and sees the horror of racism and injustice for both the living and the dead. People are praising their socks off for this book. Okay, like people are praising this book until the cows come home, and I'm a huge, huge fan of Tananarive, so I can't wait to get into this. But basically that is it. Look out for Camp Oregon in January. Participate in the holiday book rush if you'd like to for this month, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.